Buenas y bienvenidos a este video de inglés para noveno año. Hoy vamos a ver lo que es el tema de los intensifiers. Intensifiers are, as they sound, words that make another word more intense. So when we are describing something or making a sentence, and this happens mainly when we use adjectives or adverbs, sometimes we want to emphasize on that word, on that adjective or adverb. We want to add more weight to it, more meaning. And we focus on that quality of the subject that we are describing. And that's where we can use intensifiers. And intensifiers can be both an adverb or an adverbial phrase, meaning they can be a word or they can be a phrase that we add into the sentence to make our meaning stronger. Some examples are: he is very handsome. I am really tired. You are incredibly tall. And they are amazingly smart. So, sentences with intensifiers are made by adding the intensifier before the adverb, adjective, or verb. For example, you cannot say, I am hungry really, because that makes no sense. You have to add the intensifier first before the verb, in this case, hungry. So you say, I am really hungry, because the word that you are giving a stronger meaning is, in this case, hungry. So when you want to say that you're really this thing, right? So you need to add it first. Not I am hungry really, but I am really hungry. And something that is interesting about intensifiers is that by themselves, you just add the intensifier on a sentence with nothing else, they have absolutely no meaning. They need to be accompanied by an adjective or an adverb or a verb to have meaning, to mean something. So if you say, she is very, that says absolutely nothing. She's very what? There's no, you're not describing anything about that person, right? You will need to say, she's very smart or very pretty or very tall or whatever you want to say. But it needs, the sentence needs something else. Or for example, we have really, it also means nothing. You have to add something, and that word that you need to add, it's what's going to be the describing word of the sentence. The intensifier is only going to add weight to it, but it means nothing by itself. And well, that's what we just said. Then we have, we're going to review a few intensifiers, some of the most common ones because there's a lot of them. Here are the ones that we use the most and that we're going to see more often in sentences, and that we ourselves, if we're speaking English, we're going to use the most. The first two we have are very and really. Very and really are pretty similar. They are both um, used sort of in the same sentences, and a lot of the times there are some sentences where you can use either of them, and the sentence will be correct. The only difference is that really can be used to modify adjectives, adverbs, and verbs, while very can only be used with adjectives and adverbs. So the difference is that very cannot be used with verbs, but really can. Two examples are, the book was very long and I really loved that movie. Now we have the word enough. Enough gives the meaning that you have what it needs. You have, if you're saying, oh, I have this thing, you're not saying usually that you don't have that thing. You're emphasizing that you have a lot of that. Okay. For example, I bought enough food for the whole trip. So you have a lot of food, and that food is going to last you for the whole trip. And the main difference with this specific intensifier is that it's the only one that can be added after the adverb or adjective. Remember that with the other ones, you have to add it before, but this is used after. So, for example, my kid is not tall enough to get on that ride. In this case, the word would be tall, and we add enough next to it, right? It's tall plus enough. Now we have the intensifiers too, and so. And these are used to say that we have a lot of or more than necessary. And they are pretty similar actually to really and very. And sometimes, again, they can be used interchangeable and they will still be correct. Some examples are hamsters are so cute. And for example, in this sentence, you could say hamsters are very cute, or hamsters are really cute, or hamsters are too cute. And all of those sentences are correct. Next, we have you are so funny. This exam is too difficult. I can't sleep. I am too excited. And in the case of so, it has something very different. And it is that if we have an adjective and then a noun, right? Adjective plus noun, we're not going to write so, we're going to write such. So instead of saying, this was so a fun trip, you're going to say, this was such a fun trip. Now we have other common ones. Again, as I said, there are a lot of intensifiers, but these are the ones that we see the most in sentences and that are more commonly used and we use on the daily, honestly. We have completely, rather, highly, amazingly, particularly, extremely, exceptionally, pretty, fairly, incredibly, unusually, and truly. And here are some examples with these intensifiers that we just read. We have, in the case of pretty, no, this is the case of rather, that would be, I think this dress is rather pretty. You are incredibly kind for incredibly. Then we have particularly, that guy was particularly rude to me. Extremely, I am extremely happy. Unusually, the music was unusually loud. And highly, I highly recommend this Italian restaurant. Now, there are some intensifiers that have a bit of a negative or bad meaning, or are usually used when we're talking about something negative. Some of the most common ones are oddly, awfully, terribly, dreadfully, and insanely. In the examples we have, you are terribly pale. He took an awfully long time and now we're late. It's dreadfully quiet. Here I am scared. And there's an insanely long line at the store. Also, here's an important thing. We can take an adjective and turn it into an intensifier in a sentence. And these are the most common ones: total, absolute, and complete. For example, the quality of this product is absolute garbage, or the party turned into total chaos. And now let's see a few more examples of sentences with intensifiers. I am fairly certain this is the right place. The food here is awfully salty. I am so happy you got the job. My dog gets really excited at the park. He is very good at drawing. And she is pretty talented. Y eso sería por el video de hoy. Muchas gracias por ver y nos vemos para el próximo video.